What if I told you that some of the most beautiful properties in Vancouver come with a ticking clock? And if you're not careful, it could cost you hundreds and thousands, if not millions of dollars. This isn't a market fluctuation. It's about fundamental differences in ownership that many buyers overlook. And arming my clients with this knowledge, that becomes the single biggest way I protect their investment. I'm Nancy Chi, a Vancouver realtor who works exclusively with families and high-income professionals to make sure their real estate decision builds wealth, not risk it. Today, we're diving deep into leasehold properties here in Vancouver, what they are, where you'll find them, and critically, what to avoid. If you're thinking about a move to Metro Vancouver, or you're already here and considering an investment, I talk to people exactly like you every single day, and honestly, it's my favorite part of the job. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 90, text me or shoot me an email. There's a link below to book a free consultation. No pressure at all. I love to help you make a move that you feel genuinely good about. So let's start with the absolute basic. What exactly is a leasehold property in Vancouver? Unlike freehold, where you own both the land and the building outright, with a leasehold, you're essentially buying the right to live in and use a property for a specific period, typically 99 years, but sometimes shorter. You don't own the land. Instead, you pay ground rent to the landowner. This landowner could be a private entity, a government body, or even First Nations. This is a crucial distinction because it profoundly impacts your ownership rights, your equity growth, and your long-term financial planning. Many people come into the market assuming all properties are freehold, and that's just not the case here in Vancouver. It's a crucial piece of the puzzle, especially in a market where properties are significant investment. Where are Vancouver leaseholds found? Specific areas and types. Here's where it gets important. Leaseholds aren't scattered randomly across Metro Vancouver. They cluster in specific, often very highly desirable neighborhoods. That's exactly what makes them so easy to stumble into. The most well-known is university endowment lands. Almost everything there is leasehold on 99 years lease by UBC. Stunning homes, serious price tags, but the lease clock is always running. Now let me show you on a map for the other areas. Falls Creek is one area I want to spend a moment on because this is where I see buyers get caught off guard the most. Those stunning waterfront condos that seem almost too good to be true, well, there's usually a reason. Many are on prepaid leases, meaning ground rent was paid up front, but those leases are expiring very soon. We're talking about leases that run out around 2036 with options to extend to 2056 or 2066. Extensions are available right now, but they come at a cost. And that cost affects your equity, your financing, your exit strategy in ways most buyers never anticipate. You'll also find leasehold buildings in Kitsilano, fewer than people expect, but they're there, and in the West End in downtown Vancouver. In both areas, the landowner varies. Sometimes the City of Vancouver, sometimes a private company. And as I mentioned, who owns that land matters more than most buyers ever think to ask. In East Vancouver, Champlain Heights has a significant pocket of leasehold townhouses, more than people realize, and it doesn't stop at the city border. There are leasehold properties in North Vancouver and in West Vancouver around Ambleside as well. And most of what I've covered so far has been condos and townhouses. But here's one that surprises almost everyone. If you see a stunning detached home on the Vancouver West Side, south of Marine Drive, priced in a way that makes you do a double take, well, there's a very good chance it's sitting on Musqueam First Nations Indigenous land. These are leasehold properties where the land is owned by the Musqueam Nation, and the lease terms and renewal conditions are entirely different from anything else we've talked about. They require a completely different level of due diligence. This is not the place to move fast. And Burnaby has its shares too. particularly up around SFU. The point I want to leave with you is this. Across all of these areas, it is rarely obvious from the listing that a property is leasehold. You can fall in love with a home and not find out until you're already emotionally and financially committed. That's exactly why the pre-offer risk audit is a non-negotiable part of how we work with every single client. Now, knowing where leaseholds exist is only half the picture, because not all leaseholds work the same way. And the difference between two main types can mean thousands of dollars a year in costs you may not have budgeted for. With a prepaid leasehold, the ground rent has already been paid up front for the full lease term. There are no monthly ground rent payments. Day to day, it feels a lot like owning freehold, but, and this is important, that lease expiry date is still counting down. And when it gets close, it affects your property value and your resale options and your financing. Non-prepaid leaseholds are a different story. Here, you're making regular ground rent payments on top of your mortgage, strata fees, and property tax. And those payments aren't fixed. They can be reviewed and increase, sometimes dramatically at set intervals. That's a direct hit to your monthly carrying costs, and here's something many buyers don't find out until it's too late. Some lenders won't even touch a non-prepaid leasehold at all, which means your financing options are already narrower before you've even made an offer. I had a client recently who was surprised by a ground lease increase that dramatically altered their affordability calculations. The numbers that matters, and most buyers never think to check, is how much is left on the lease. Once you get below 30 to 40 years remaining, most major lenders won't approve financing at all, and value of the property tends to drop noticeably as that number shrinks. Not because the home itself has changed, but because the pool of buyers who can actually purchase it gets smaller and smaller every year. You could be sitting on an asset that looks valuable on paper, but is increasingly difficult to sell. That's not a position you want to be in. Now, this is a part that I made this video for. 3 things. If you remember nothing else from everything we've covered today, remember these 3 things. Number 1, the lease expiry date. This is the number most buyers never ask about, and it's the one that can do the most damage. A short remaining term doesn't just affect your monthly costs. It affects whether you can get a mortgage at all and whether you'll be able to find a buyer when it's time to sell. As a general rule, 99-year remaining is ideal. Below 60, start asking hard questions. Below 30 to 40, most lenders won't even touch it, and neither would I, without a very clear strategy in place. Number 2, ground rent escalation clauses. These are buried in the lease documents, and I mean buried. Some leases allow the landowner to increase ground rent at a set interval, sometimes tied to market value, sometimes at their discretion. What's affordable today may not be affordable in 5 years, and this is not something you can negotiate away after you've bought. Get the full lease documents. Have it reviewed by a lawyer who specializes specifically in leaseholds, not just any real estate lawyer. And this one area where generalist advice is generally not enough. Thirdly, be wary of leasehold properties that are difficult to insure, or those with restrictive covenants that limit your ability to renovate or even sell. Every single one of these, the expiry date, the escalation clauses, the covenant, is exactly what my pre-offer risk audit is built to catch, especially at the price point I work at, over $1.5 million. The stakes are too high to move on instincts and assumption. I've seen what happens when buyers skip this step, and I've never once had a client tell me that the audit wasn't worth it. Not once. First, know who you're working with. Not every agent in Vancouver understands leaseholds at a street-by-street level. You need someone who can spot it before it's on the listing, and who knows what those specific documents actually mean for your financial position. Second, get the full lease document reviewed by a lawyer who specializes in leasehold, not a generalist. The clauses that cost buyers a lot of money are the ones that look unremarkable on the surface. Third, be honest about your timeline. Leaseholds can actually make sense as a strategy, but only when it matches your goals. Holding for decades or passing it on to your kids, you need a long remaining term and a rock-solid renewal term. Looking for an entry point into a desirable neighborhood for a defined period? A prepaid leasehold with a strong remaining of years can work if the numbers are right. Leasehold isn't automatically a bad investment, but it is one that demands more knowledge, more scrutiny, more the right people in your corner. And that's what I'm here for. We covered a lot today, and leasehold is just one layer of what it takes to buy smart in Vancouver, but it's one of the most important layers most people never get taught. My job and what I generally love doing is making sure the people I work with never have to learn this stuff the hard way. You shouldn't have to make a $1 million mistake to understand the Vancouver market. And that's what I'm here to prevent. If you're thinking about buying in Metro Vancouver, whether that's next month or next year, text me directly at 604-256-9186 to set up a consultation. If this was helpful, and I hope it was, a thumbs up generally helps more Vancouver buyers find this information. And subscribe, because what we covered today is just the start. Vancouver is one of the most complex real estate markets in the world. You deserve to go into it with your eyes fully open. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.